This summer, I read The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. This was written in 1939. It's about a Dust Bowl and its effects on American farmers. So, this book, half the chapters follow the story of this family, the Jodes, especially the main character, Tom Jode. So, this family's been forced to migrate from Oklahoma to California. The other half of the chapters are just general writing about unnamed people and places during the same time period. For example, one chapter talks about a turtle that's like slowly making its way through the desert. Another chapter talks about a roadside diner and this interaction that happens between diner workers, uh, some truck drivers that are there, and some poor migrants that came in. Uh, so many of these general chapters are like social commentaries about society during this period. Um, so the Jodes had to leave because there was this tough situation with the Dust Bowl. Um, Most of America, including Oklahoma, underwent this huge drought. Uh, so the landowners had to evict all the tenant farmers that used to farm the lands for like generations. So the Joes were some of those tenants that got kicked off the land they lived on. Uh, it's because the landowners weren't able to make a profit because the drought ruined all the crops. So they decided they'd kick off the tenants and then they just industrially farm these lands with tractors because it's much cheaper and more efficient to do that. But it also like pretty much ruins the lives of the people that have been living there for like generations. Uh, Landowners plan to replace the crops that were already there with cotton, even though planting cotton pretty much ruins the soil because it takes up all the nutrients. So once the landowners get as much cotton as they're going to get, as much as they can from that soil, they're just going to try to sell the land to East Coasters that don't know any better, even though it's like useless land, you know. Uh, so the farmers are not happy that they're getting kicked off the land, but the landowners tell them that they're forced to kick them out because of the banking system, which is going to destroy them if they don't make a profit. Uh, so the biggest theme in this book, in my opinion, is the oppression of the poor by the banking system. So Steinbeck explains how the banking system takes advantage of the poor and how the banking system it's gotten bigger than the people who actually work for it, right? Make it up. The banking system has gotten to the point where it pretty much runs the country. So I think Steinbeck is trying to use this book to show how the banking system, well, show why the banking system power should be limited and regulated. Steinbeck uses a familiar style during the chapters about the Joes, at least. So he uses like personal, colloquial language uh, because he's trying to imitate the Oklahoma dialect of English. So he writes speech in the same way that the characters would have sounded. So it's not like it's not like perfect English, but it's like realistic to how these people would have talked back then in this area. Um, the general chapters they're not as personal because it's not that much dialogue in them. But yeah, when there is dialogue, it's similar to that. Uh, so overall, I'd recommend this book. Yeah, it was pretty long, and it took a while to get going in the beginning because it was really slow moving at first. Um, Especially the chapters. Well, the chapters with the Jodes in it. That wasn't as slow because there's like actually people that you're familiar with and you could follow. You're interested in following them, but when it's a new scenario every other chapter, like in the general chapters, it's always like a new scenario, and you're not really interested in that. Like I wasn't. Um, so, but the chapters with the jokes, they're entertaining, and they still have the deeper meaning that the book holds. Um, I never read anything else by Steinbeck, so I don't know if his other stuff is good, but I'd imagine it is based on this. uh,